Good morning. Welcome to today's coaching session with Lorena. So I'm just gonna get a couple of things started here. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. So go ahead and put in the comments if you can hear me. Okay. Okay. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, we're checking with my team to make sure that, that you guys can hear me. We are streaming on 2 different platforms. So I have a platform that's going to be streaming with Zoom. And then I have another platform where we're going to be streaming on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and also we're going LinkedIn Live. So I'm just kind of managing the tools that we're using to make sure that everybody hears me and to make sure that you see my screen, because I am going to be sharing my screen. So we are Facebook Live, we are on Instagram Live, and we are on YouTube Live. Okay. The best way, if you do have questions, and you're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and on LinkedIn Live, I will be able to see them on our streaming service. And if you are on Zoom, just do not send them private to me. Put send to everyone so that our team can see it and then they can notify me. We will have the questions left to the end. And by the way, this is not a free coaching where we teach you something for 5 minutes and then the last 45 minutes of the call, I'm pitching you my service. That's not how this is going to work. We do want to keep our word, saying that we do want to bring value to you. We do want to bring something that's actionable, something that you can take to your business and apply so that you can start seeing changes. Okay, so there is not going to be any pitch. I mean, if you do have questions about our service, we have a lot of material in our website, and you can just send me an email. And if not, again, you can continue to join these calls, continue to learn, continue to bring your team, because we are going to give you actionable steps. We are going to give you things that you can immediately start applying in your business so that you start seeing results. So first of all, thank you if you are joining us or if you are watching this replay. Thank you for the opportunity that you're giving us to get to know us and to allow me to come into your space and give you a couple of lessons. Okay. Now, towards the end, we will be giving a 6-month CRM for free. If you not have heard of Go High Level, it is obviously I'm going to be biased to it because I have been using it for so long. But I also did not use it for a while, and I was kind of like all over the place. So I would have my website somewhere, I would have my funnel somewhere, I would have another thing for pipeline, another thing for sales. And the thing is that adding up all of those tools would just cost a lot of money. And not only that, when you're running a business, you need all of the tools to communicate. So, you had to spend a lot of time doing integrations and things like that. And then Go High Level fixes all of that. So I am going to be giving 6 months to 2 attendees. And the rules is you got to be on time. You got to stay on the entire time of the call. Share this on Facebook, share it on LinkedIn, and then send us a screenshot. Send it to me. My email is right here, lorena@azigo.com. And if you are watching this as a replay, we do give this on a weekly basis. We are going to be hosting these coaching calls on a weekly basis to bring you value. Okay, so that's a little bit of housekeeping. Let's get that out of the way and let's get started on what we want to do today. So the first thing that I want to share with you is I want to share our mission. Okay, we know what it is to work long hours, feel stressed all the time, and not see your business grow. Okay, we know what it is to miss family moments and feel like you're running out of energy. So our mission is to help businesses break free from that cycle and start seeing real results. And I want to let you know that there is a way to get this done. Like a lot of times we have these limiting beliefs that we think that a business has to be run with lack of sleep, with no time for family, with, eating in your desk and not enjoying a healthy meal. Like there is a different way. And there are people that are running their business successfully and without stress and without the hustle. Okay. It's just that sometimes sometimes we're stuck in our own limiting belief things, thinking that things can only have that things have to get done a certain way. Okay. But a lot of times we have to remove those limiting beliefs. Okay. And we have been there. That's why I'm here today, because we want to show you how to get more freedom, more time, more profit without burnout. And that's why we want to give this for free. Okay. So that you can start making changes right now. Okay. What is our vision? Well, we see a world where business owners don't have to guess their way through growth, work themselves into exhaustion, or choose between making money and having a life. Okay. We believe that you deserve tools, clarity, and system to grow without losing your health, without losing family time or joy or peace. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Again, this is like I'm running two tools here, so I want to make sure that everybody can see me.
So on Zoom, ahorita sí cambió.
It's a delay.
On
Okay.
Zoom, sí está updating the sheet that you're on. But on LinkedIn, it was still back in the other slide. But now it moved to the new slide.
Okay. Yeah, so I just want to make sure. So there is going to be a little bit of a lag on Zoom. So if you do not want to be on Zoom,
No, the lag was on LinkedIn.
Oh, the live was on LinkedIn. Okay. So they're telling me that there's a lag on LinkedIn or maybe on the live. So I guess I'll just scroll slowly so that you see the slides. And by the way, go ahead.
Sorry, but your picture, y vos hablando, sí está up to date in both.
Okay,
it's
perfect.
The slide of that little girl doing the cartwheel.
Oh, because it's a GIF. Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah, so we will see a little bit of a slag, and I'll try to fix that for our next one. So yeah, let's not sacrifice health, family time, or joy. Like I was saying in the beginning, there is a better way. Okay. So our vision is simple. We want to build a community where business owners are free, profitable, and living the life on their own terms, like living their dreams. Okay. And you know what happens? That a lot of times when we build the business to create solutions for our life. And a lot of times we see ourselves already inside the business and we never took the time to analyze, like, what life do I want? Or what is my day to day? Like, how do I want to live my days on my terms? And sometimes you got to like go back to that, because it's happened to me. You're going to see how it happened to me. So we give this coaching for free to open the door that we wish we had been open for us. Okay. So that you can grow without losing your life in the process. So let's look into the future. And I want you to imagine what a steady, secured, monthly recurring revenue can do for you. Okay. Imagine having predictable income, knowing what's coming in each month so that you can plan confident. Okay, you get to focus on clients, you get to spend time helping clients and less time chasing new ones. Okay, that is a key. Okay, you don't want to be always in the hustle looking for your next clients. You should have systems, and there are systems where your ideal client comes to you versus you chasing them. Okay, when you have a system, okay, you can grow faster. And with stable income, you can reinvest in your system, in your business. You can hire help and you can scale. And you have the freedom to choose. You take on the clients that you want and not the ones that you need to survive. You really want to be working with your ideal client. Okay. Wouldn't that be great? So, and personally, what would this do to you? I apologize if you hear my dogs in the back. I do have German Shepherds. They are alert dogs, and they just let us know when there's a fly that wants to attack us. So when you have a system, okay, that's generating clients for you, bringing on your ideal clients, personally, you're going to, and by the way, generating profits to you, okay, it's going to bring less stress. There's no more worrying if you're going to make enough each month. You're going to have more time. You're going to have financial freedom. financial freedom to invest, to save, to enjoy life, to go on vacations, to make decisions, to go to the restaurants that you want and just live life on your terms. Flexibility, okay, unplug, go on vacations, just live life on your own terms. And you have peace of mind. Knowing that your income is secure lets you sleep better at night. Okay, wouldn't that be amazing? Now, what happens when you do not have a way to create recurring revenue stable, like being stable? Well, you have stressful months. Every month feels like you're starting from zero. You don't know if you're going to make enough, so it's difficult to plan. You don't know if some money came in. Should I put that on the ad? Should I pay myself? Should I use it for the software that everybody's telling me to use? You have no stability. You're chasing clients constantly. Okay, you have less time to grow. You have no freedom. You're taking on any client and you're starting to do all kinds of things. And by the way, that was me when I first started the marketing agency. I was all over the place. I was doing Facebook, I was doing websites, I was doing SEO, I was doing blogs, I was doing graphics. I was just all over the place. Okay, until I found that there was a better way. Okay, and you have feast or famine cycle. Who hasn't been there? 1 month you're busy, the next one you're scrambling and looking for, just being on that roller coaster of clients in, clients out. When it's my next client, the emotion, the stress, the stomach. It's not the way. It's not the way that we want to have a business, okay? And you're in a constant burnout. You're always working, always hustling. It's always exhausting. And I remember when we were there, I remember that I have 3 boys, and I remember, and this like really touched my heart, but I remember when I was operating a business like this without systems, I remember my son, he was like, I think 6 years old. And he wrote to me a letter, and he was saying that he needed to request a meeting with me. Why? Because he saw that anybody that I spoke to, they had gone through a process of requesting a meeting. And he actually said that he needed a meeting with me. And then in that moment that he brought that meeting, he said that he needed more time with me. So again, a lot of times we're operating our business and we don't know what it's doing to our life. Okay. Now, there are some limiting beliefs that we have said or that I hear, and why some business owners think that it's not possible for them, right? Or they're stuck in their own limiting beliefs, and that happens a lot. And by the way, I'm here to help you get out of that, okay? So they say things like it only works for big businesses. They think that only big companies can create stable recurring income. They say it's too complicated. They believe that setting it up will require too much time and effort. They say it's too expensive. They assume that creating recurring revenue will cost too much money up front. Or they say, I need to learn how to use complicated software. They feel like they need to master new complex tools or, spend, $30,000 on the latest AI course. And by the way, that's not how it is. Okay. The truth is that it is possible. It is efficient. It is cost effective. It is simple, and it's totally doable. Okay, so let's take you from a business owner that right now maybe does not have a simple, repeatable way to create the income that you want, and to one that does. Okay, now my name is Lorena, and this is a picture of me a couple of years ago when I was stuck. When when we started, we had no money, we had no connections, we had no followers, we had no knowledge of how to run ads. And starting a business was impossible. Okay, I was in consistent survival mode, struggling with no steady income, chasing clients all the time, and just feeling overwhelmed. Okay, and I actually started the business because I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I'm going to leave that story for another day. Maybe I'll do a live just to talk about that story. But believe it or not, cancer is what actually drove me to start a business, because I needed freedom. So I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 29 years old. I was actually pregnant, and my husband had just joined the Army, and he got into basic training. For those that do know or do not know, when they go into basic training, they remove their phones. So the last conversation that I had with my husband was, I have cancer. Okay. But long story short, I actually did not do chemo. I opted to change a lot of my habits, and through God and his guidance, and I believe in God a lot. And it's a part of our business and our daily life. And it's the reason why I'm here in front of you. Okay. But I knew that in that moment I had to get out of the corporate world, and I needed to start my own business because I needed freedom. Okay. So I needed to have freedom to, spend with my family. I needed to have my own cooked meal. I needed to stop the eating out. I just needed to heal. So I realized that I couldn't, and I started the business. Okay. But when I started the business, I had no systems. So I failed. But I knew that I couldn't keep going because again, I had gotten cancer. I needed to heal. I got out of the corporate world and I started the business to have the freedom. But when I started the business, okay, I started having stress and I started kind of to go back in my old habits. I started not sleeping. My hormones were out of balance, not spending time with my family. And I was a slave to the business. Okay. And this is the thing that once I made a couple of changes, I realized that I did not need to be popular, have fancy tools, or spend hours cold calling, and that I did not need to buy a $20,000 course. And this is where we learned that by leveraging LinkedIn AI, okay, we could automate our outreach, attract the right clients, and create consistent recurring revenue. So I went from chasing clients to having a system that brought them to us consistently. Okay, and why am I here? Well, because I know what it is to feel stuck and overwhelmed. So this is a picture of me before, and then this is an after, and this is my family here. We get to, enjoy life, live life on our terms. And again, there is a way of doing this, okay? And this is when my business stopped draining me and it started fueling me, okay? Now, what we're going to cover today, I want to talk today specifically about principles versus tactics. And by the way, this is going to be a lesson that if you apply this to any of your systems, if you're running ads on Facebook, if you're running LinkedIn automation, if you're doing an email campaign, this is something that you're going to be able to apply. Whether you apply to anything in your business, this is going to automatically cause a change. Okay. So today's lesson is going to be about principles versus tactics. Then I'm going to open it up for questions. And remember, put them on the chat. And then at the end, I'm going to go ahead and give that constant, that CRM for 6 months. Okay, so let me just quickly check the comments. Thank you for those that are joining on Instagram, on YouTube. Thank you so much. On LinkedIn Live, and we're also on Facebook. So thank you, all of you. Go ahead and put your comments there. Thank you for your time. So let's get started about principles versus tactics. Now, what is a principle? Okay, principles are the foundational beliefs or rules that guide decision-making and actions. They're universal, timeless, and applicable across different situations, okay? They are the big rules that guide everything that you do. They're universal, they're timeless, and they apply no matter the situation. Principles give you the why behind your actions. They keep you focused for long-term success, okay? For example, always add value to the customer's life. That is a principle. So what that would mean is that if you're always adding value to when you're doing a live event, when you're posting, when you are holding a seminar, that is a principle, okay? The tool is going to be a little bit different, or the tactic is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so what is a tactic? A tactic, on the other hand, are specific actions or methods, and I would even add to this tools to achieve short-term goals. They're adaptable, practical, and often situation dependent. Tactics provide the how and are chosen based on the immediate context. Okay, so their actions, they're situational dependent. So for example, the principle is you always add value to the customer's life. A tactic can be a trend on Instagram. So let's say that everybody's using the same background music for an Instagram story. You're using the trend, but what are you going to put in that story? Okay, what you're going to put in that story is to bring value to a customer's life. So there you're using the current trend or the current tool, and you're applying the principle. Okay, now what do people get wrong? Well, they apply tactics without principles. Okay, and I'll give you a couple examples. And I think I had a spoon. I always move the spoon. Right? I need a spoon. You have a spoon there? I'm a very visual person. Give me a second. So let's say that I tell you right now that this spoon it's going to help you lose, well, it helps me lose like 50 pounds in a month. And I start selling you the spoon, and I'm like, this spoon is going to change your life. Look at how shiny it is. And this is what I use to lose 50 pounds. So buy the spoon. And I sell you on the spoon. So you buy the spoon and you start using the spoon. But then all of a sudden, you've been using it for a month and you're not seeing the results. Okay. And you're like looking at everybody else. You're in a group where everybody else is using the spoon and they're all losing weight. And you're here like, well, why isn't it working for me? The thing is that you bought the spoon, but then you didn't see all the other principles that applied with the spoon. The spoon is a tool, but I left out the principles that said, well, I actually hired a nutritionist. I actually got my hormones in balance. I actually got a personal trainer, and I started lifting weights, and I started to put all these other principles that it wasn't just the tool by itself. It was the tool with the principles. Okay. And a lot of times that happens. We buy the next shiny object for us, and they're selling us all of the benefits and all of the features of the tool, but they're leaving out a lot of principles. And that's something that as business owners, you have to be careful, because there's a lot of ads, there's a lot of noise telling you this is what you need to grow your business. Okay. For example, they'll sell you an automation tool and they'll tell you, look, with this tool, you're going to get 100 sales. You buy the tool, you buy the subscription, and then you start getting technical with the tool. Okay. But this is the thing. They're not giving you marketing principles. Marketing principles like the customer's pain has to be truly identified before you really reach out to them. That is a key principle. If your messages are not pain driven and you're not truly understanding what is your audience's like biggest pain, you're not going to sell. The tool is not going to work. Okay. Here's another example. They'll tell you, look, use AI to grow your business, and you start downloading Claude, Grok, you start downloading ChatGPT, and you just start randomly putting stuff on ChatGPT. What is an AI principle? The AI principle is you got to give it a role. You got to give it specific instructions, because AI works with garbage in, garbage out. Okay. If you're not putting the information into AI, you're going to get garbage. If that's what you're just going to get garbage, just random things. You're not giving it a specific task or a specific role, and it's just not going to work for you. Okay. So this is what happens a lot when we're operating a business, that we get caught in all of the noise that people are selling you. People are telling you to do this for your business. They're selling you a bunch of tools. But a lot of times we have to stop and identify, like, okay, I have this tool, but what is the principle behind it? Okay. So here's the thing. You can use a principle to make a tactic work, but you cannot make a tactic work without the principle. If you are currently using a bunch of tools or tactics and you're not seeing the results, you're going to want to analyze what principles are behind it. Okay. So if you chase tactics without a clear set of principles, you're always going to feel busy, but rarely seeing lasting results. Now, how can I apply this for my business today? What needs to change? And I wanted to make this focused on marketing and on the audiences. So I brought a couple of examples. I have 5 examples here of what would need to change. Like, how would we see this applicable to our businesses? So I put a couple of examples. Let's say that you're spending time and money on marketing, but you don't even know who your best buyers are. What will be the solution to that? Okay, well, the root cause, you have no clear definition of the ideal customer profile. So you really have to take time to understand your ideal client, and not just on it has to be on a first, second, there's levels to understanding your ideal client. Because let's say that you sell B2C. Okay, you're selling B2C, you're understanding their behaviors or demographics, but take it more than that. What about how are they with their family? Is their solution bringing something to their family? Is their solution bringing something to their finances, for example? Let's say that you sell insurance. You're not just selling insurance. You are selling more than that. Okay. How does that affect their day-to-day life? How does that affect their future? What are they thinking about? Like, how does that affect their family? Those are the layers that you want to start peeling, okay? And understanding their pains. And all the time, take it deeper and take it deeper. Let's say that when you're dealing with B2B, even though you're dealing B2B, at the end of the day, your sales call, you're going to have it with a person. And whatever affects their business, it's going to affect them on their personal life as well. So you have to know what questions to ask them. So again, no clear definition of the ideal client. It's something that you want to have. Like, you want to have the questions. You want to truly understanding. Like, your calls should really be, your audience should feel like you're reading their mind. That's how deeply you should understand their pain. Okay, so the principle here is clarity before connection. Take time to understand your audiences, but not understand what they need, how much money they need to take. Like, do not get caught on the features. You have to understand their pain. What keeps them up at night? Okay, what raises their stress? Like, what's causing stress in their life? Those are the things that you really want to identify. And a tactical solution, a way that you can do this, is interview your top 5 to 10 best clients. Identify their patterns. You're going to start seeing patterns. You're going to see, like, wow, that they said this keyword. And guess what? When they give you a keyword, that's your next ad. That's your next, like, marketing campaign. Okay, that keyword, that common word that all of them started using, that's what you want to use. Okay. And you can create like a one-pager, a customer DNA profile, to guide all of the message. Now, let's see if you're having another problem. That's you're creating offer based on what you think people want, but no one is buying. So you have a product out there, you put a lot of time in and a lot of money into it, but then nobody is buying. Well, what can be the problem? You're not validating offers with your audience before building them. Or most likely your offer is full of a lot of features and not a lot of solutions. And here you have to understand human behavior, okay? People hate to be sold, but people love to buy. But people are not going to be buying the next shiny object. People want a solution to their most urgent pain. And the moment you start talking the moment you start talking to their pain, the moment you start telling them how you're going to fix their pain, that's how you have their attention. And that's what's going to make you sound completely different. That's how you're going to cut through the noise and through all of the ads, because you truly understand what hurts them. Okay. And by the way, when you're doing this, that's also how you're going to build trust, because nobody's going to buy from you if they don't trust you. And a way to gain this trust is for you to be an authority. And the authority that you have is because you understood their pain. You took the time to understand what is hurting their business. Okay, or their financial problem, or if you're a life coach, their relationships or their health, whatever it is that you do, you have to do it on a pain level. Okay, so again, the root cause would be you're not validating offers with your audience before building them. A principle here is conversations before constructions. Okay, run 5 to 10 problem-focused discovery calls with your target audience before building the next product. Okay, so in your discovery call, let's say you have like 10 calls. And by the way, you can use AI to help you do this. You can use AI and be like, this is my client, and I want you to go ahead and identify their most urgent needs. Now go deeper. Now, what problems will they be seeing in their health? What problems will they be seeing in their finances? What problem would they be seeing with their family? Like, what is a person, and what do they need to be to feel good? Like, identify like columns, like specific things, and then start removing the layers and understanding their pains. Okay, your content gets likes and views, but not converting into paying clients. How many of you have been there? Because I have been there. Okay, you spent all this time in a content. And by the way, that happened to us when we first started our business. One of the things that we used to do is that we would create graphics, and they would be really, really nice. And people would love us for our work because we were very good at doing that. We worked with excellence and integrity, and they loved us. But this is the thing, just because I had a beautiful graphic and it was getting 10,000 likes, it didn't mean that it was converting into a client. Okay, so that's when we actually started suffering, because even though they loved us, they were not getting clients. And that's when I had like a moment, and I was like, this is not working. I'm doing all this work, but people, okay, they're liking it, but they're not converting it into calls. And that's actually when we shift things and we started focusing on what works. And what works is when you have these one-on-one with your ideal clients. So we started focusing on one-on-one, and we started asking ourselves, okay, we have this client here and their life would change if I just get them in front of their right audience. Okay, because this is the thing, we were working with coaches and consultants, and coaches and consultants did not get into business to learn marketing. They did not get into business to understand how to run ads and to understand how an algorithm works and how to build integrations and how to make, install Zapier with a CRM. And they did not get into business for that. How many of you can say that? Okay, because most of our audience is coaches and consultants. They got into coaching and to consultant to be in front of someone to help them. Their drive is to help. Like, they wake up on fire every day because they want to help someone, because they are purpose driven. So the last thing that they want is start learning integrations and marketing. So when I understood that they need help, that they wake up on fire to help someone, I understood that I needed to put them in front of the audience. Like, I understood that I needed to have a system where they would just wake up and see their call. And they didn't have to do anything else. They just had to go on Zoom. There's their client. So when I understood that, I created a system that made them enjoy what they're doing. I didn't add more problems to it. So again, let's go back to this. When your content gets likes and views, but it's not converting into paying clients, content isn't addressing the specific problem and language your audience is using. Remember what I was telling you to do interviews? And when you're doing those interviews, you're going to find these keywords. There's going to be a language, and then boom, you're going to notice that language across all of the conversations that you're having. That's how you want to speak to your audience. Okay? Principles speak to their pain and not your process. So that's what I understood. I understood that coaches, they didn't want to understand like all the integrations and all these workflows and all of that. At the end of the day, they just want to speak to their audience, and they just want to start coaching. They want to start consulting. They want to start helping change their lives, especially life coaches, relationship coaches. Like there's a passion, there's a purpose inside of them. Okay. So going back to this, a way to fix this, like if you're getting likes and views, but it's not converting into paying clients, you want to use their exact words from discovery calls, emails, DMs in your copy. And this is something that we have been, so we actually coach, we've been coaching over 300 business owners. And one of the things that we tell our clients is that when you are doing a marketing campaign or when you're doing an email campaign, stop using your words. Like, I'm in marketing, for example, but when I speak to someone, I'm not talking to them with marketing language. I need to talk to them in their language. So I'll give you an example. Okay, we have an agency owner that they own a business where they help roofing companies, and they're like in the construction industry. So they were talking like, we help you get leads. We help you get leads. Talking to their audience like, we help you get leads. And then we started doing a research on like, if somebody owns a roofing company, what's more attractive to them? The term leads, we help you get leads, or we help you get business owners that are ready to install. You see the difference? So they understand homeowners that are ready to have an install versus a lead. Which one's going to have more value? Well, the ones that they understand, the language that they understand. Okay. So that's why you want to use their exact words. You want to mirror them. Okay. And by the way, a book that teaches you how to do this, if you have not read this book, this is an important book that you want to have and that you want to read is the one by Vince Vaughn. What's the name of it? Never Split the Difference. there's a technique. If you're not there, if you haven't read that book, it's a must for every business owner or for your sales team. Well, actually, the business owner should read it, and then your sales team should read it, because it teaches you a technique that's called mirroring. Okay, and it teaches you how to use your prospects or the person that you speak, how to use their verbiage, their language. Okay. So let's go here to the next one. You're attracting followers and leads, but the wrong type of people keep showing up. How many have been there? Okay. Well, root cause, vague or overly broad positioning in your messages. And this happens a lot. And a lot of times when we're setting up campaigns, we'll have like our first call, our onboarding call. And one of the questions that I ask, they'll be like, okay, who's your audience? And what they'll tell me is like, well, I can sell this to anyone. And that is a huge mistake. Like, I understand the enthusiasm behind it. But by the way, if you market to everyone, you market to no one. Okay. So you really want to identify where is your positioning and who your audience is to not even a niche level, even a sub niche level. Okay. Because if not, you're just going to be repelling the wrong person. Okay. So a tactical solution would be clearly state who you help on a sub-niche level and who you don't. That's very, very, very great as well. Okay, who do you help and who do you don't? Okay, and let's look at this last one. You're changing your marketing every month because nothing seems to work. I have seen this happen so many times. Like, you'll start an automation, and then you're not seeing that it's working. Okay, why? Because there's no consistent feedback loop from your audience to guide decisions, or you're not really identifying the root cause. Like, you have the automation tool, you turned it on, but have you taken a look to your messages? What messages are going out if you are using an automation tool? Okay, you started an ad. What message do you have on there? What principle is behind your message? Are you just talking about yourself? Okay. Are you just talking about the features that you have? Are you marketing to everyone? Have you not truly identified your audience's pain? Are you leading with benefits instead of leading with pain? Like, you really have to start identifying these things and start fixing them. Okay. Tactical solution: create a monthly audience pulse check survey with 3 questions. Like, what's your number one challenge? Like, go back, like, your answers is in your audience, but you have to be proactive in asking the right questions. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let me see if we have any, we're going to actually be going to the private rooms for our questions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end it here on the live stream. And if you were connected on LinkedIn or on, let me bring something up here. Here it is, here. Okay, so then, this is only showing, okay. So the next training will probably going to be next Tuesday. Before, just a couple of things before, and we're going to hop into another room on the Zoom room for our questions. And then before ending it, I want to let you know we are going to be changing. We're not going to be doing it at 10 in the morning. I think next week we're going to be doing it at 1 in the afternoon. And if you have questions, you can send them to my email. This is my email right here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'm going to hop into the other rooms for questions. And if you did join us, remember that we are giving you the CRM for free. Just send me the screenshot that you shared it on Facebook and that you shared it on LinkedIn. And then I'll go ahead and start emailing your access. So I hope you enjoy this. We will be having the replay. I'll be sending an email with the replay. And that's about it. I hope you enjoy this. And I'll see you on the next training.